Ladies and gentlemen, I'm back. Very special guest. I'm joined here today by...
My name is Plus.
Dude, I'm excited, bro. First of all, I kind of want to start, like, how do you get your name, bro? It's a pretty unique name, actually.
So my parents said that I was the addition to the family.
Let's talk about, like, where are you going for college? What are your plans regarding that? What major are you studying?
And I'm studying political science, and I'm planning to transfer out to UCI or UCLA, where Alden is going.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
What do you like study on like a day-to-day basis? Political science. It's a pretty fascinating major in my opinion. What do you even study about? Like, do you study like politics? Do you study like what are your thoughts?
In my political science class, that I took, it was actually really fascinating how the fundamental question of politics is how are humans going to get along with each other? You know what I mean? There's a lot of psychology in it. Now that I think about it, it's a lot of psychology, and you get to learn a lot about people and how to get people together. You know what I mean?
Okay. What are your thoughts on Sleepy Joe? Since you're studying political science yourself, I want to know what your thoughts are on Sleepy Joe right now.
Sleepy Joe Biden. I mean, it's a shame that he's gone, I guess. I haven't been following that very much, to be honest. I'm actually more fascinated on just how people, like you and me, basically, how we get along. Because that's politics. It's not just Joe Biden, Trump, all that stuff, you know? That's politics, but that's not all politics, you know what I mean? Politics is literally just how we get along and stuff like that, you know?
Interesting. What like career path are you gonna get into? Like, let's say after you get your degree, what kind of job, what kind of career path are you gonna get yourself into?
That's a tough question. They always ask me that. Okay. I want to shoot far. Okay. President of the United States. What do you think?
Oh, wow.
What do you think? President of the United States. Here, okay, listen. So a lot of people think that politics has to do with like laws and stuff, right? Which it kind of does. Okay. But criminology and law and being a lawyer and stuff, that takes a lot of psychology classes, which is a lot of science, right? In political science, it's actually more like history. It's more history based. So we're learning about like the history of the United States and the history of pretty much the world, actually. Just how countries get along with each other. Yeah.
Damn, I feel like law itself is pretty difficult, to be honest. I think you need like 7 years of like school in total. It's just a lot of work, honestly.
Oh yeah.
I do want to talk about like the psychology. You talked about how we need psychology in like fields like politics. Like, why is that? Like, why do you think we need to understand human psychology in order to succeed in politics? Like, is it because all politicians are manipulators? Like, what's going on?
Okay. I think in life, I think everyone is always like trying to get the upper hand. Okay, everyone's manipulating each other. I could be manipulating you. I manipulated this guy to like me. You know what I mean? But okay, that's jokes. But I think that's what life is about, and I think it's really good to learn that stuff so you could have the upper hand. You know what I mean? So you could see the signs. Why? Like, is someone trying to like politic you? You know what I mean? And it's really interesting. Like, human psychology, people look over it all the time because people are looking into like science and stuff like that. But you also have to look back in history, because in history, you see what people have done. You know what I mean? In history, when you look back, you learn about like the mistakes that we made and how we could prevent them in the future. So a lot of... What was that? Sun Tzu, exactly. So a lot of learning about history. Exactly. A lot of learning about history is literally just to find out how we could have a better future. Yeah, how we can move on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's why like history is actually important. You don't want to be repeating the same mistakes your ancestors did like thousands of years ago. I think that's just like super inefficient. Super inefficient. We're just wasting human years. I want to talk about your hobbies, bro. What do you do in your free time?
Yeah, man, I play in a band, indie rock band called Shed Noise. Yeah, we started in around October. I met the bandmates actually at PCC through a flyer that I saw hung up. It's actually a great way to get to know people. Look at the flyers, bulletin boards. Yeah, man. Just called them up. Just like, yo, you need a bassist, bro. They're like, yeah, man. You play indie rock? And I'm like, yeah. I only knew like a couple of songs, I'm not going to lie. I'm not really that big on indie rock. But, yeah, man, it's pretty fun, though.
So it's a pretty good conversation so far, but I do want to talk about space.
To be honest, I want to ask you, actually. You brought that up. You brought up space. You brought up that how you were fascinated with it. So what do you think? Like, are we alone in this universe or what?
Dude, absolutely not. The universe is massive, bro. The universe is like very massive, actually. Just the Milky Way galaxy alone, it's massive already. But like in galaxies are galaxies, and then their universe. There's even a potential of like there being like multiverse, like parallel universes. But I think the universe is just so massive that it's impossible for us to be alone. There are two possibilities. We could be alone, or there could be like certain aliens out there. But I feel like both options are terrifying, but us being alone is more terrifying. Because think about it, like the universe is so massive, but imagine if we're just alone. Like that's terrifying. Like we feel like lonely. There's this sense of loneliness if that's the case.
Why? Why do you believe that why do you believe that we're not alone in this universe? Is there like evidence of that? What do you think?
There's no evidence. Maybe there is. Obviously, fact checkers online. Before you cancel me, there might be evidence out there. But honestly, I'm not sure. But I do strongly believe this. But I do believe that there are aliens out there. It's just that like I don't think we have just discovered each other just yet. But it is kind of creepy though, because if they find us first, that means that they're way ahead of us, like in terms of technology.
Well, I actually saw a couple of theories. There could be aliens, another being like other than us, right? But do you think that okay, there's many different possibilities. Do you think that aliens would be hostile to us? Right? You know what I mean? Like can't they do you think we'd make peace with them? You know what I mean?
First of all, I guess we have to find a way to communicate with the aliens first. But I feel like I don't know. Honestly, they might be, because theoretically, let's say like we are far more advanced. If we find like aliens, would we be hostile, right? I feel like we wouldn't be. The thing is like if aliens discover us and that means that they probably have the technology to annihilate our entire species. Like they could annihilate humanity as a whole, and I feel like they wouldn't want to do that because think about this: if they find us, that means that they are already on the path to discovering us. They are already trying to find us. And I feel like instead of like trying to annihilate us, I feel like they would be kind of stoked to find like other living species out there. I think that's what they would feel because that's how I would feel. That's how humans would feel if we discovered.
What do you think about what if we're living in like a globe, you know, like a zoo, and aliens like higher beings are like already looking down on us, you know what I mean? Like they created us. You know what I mean? What do you think about that?
I guess that's also entirely plausible, but to be honest, it's just like it makes a lot less sense than the universe theory. I think the universe, the Big Bang, that makes a lot more sense in my opinion.
Reasonable. Okay. So you say that the Big Bang theory is reasonable. I'm not too educated on that myself. So what even is that? As to my knowledge, it's a big explosion, right? That kind of just created us, right? Yeah. So like what do you think about like a higher being that actually did create us, like block for block, you know what I mean?
See, that's very fascinating, bro. Honestly, I think that's entirely plausible. The universe definitely has a creator, but that's entirely plausible, bro. That's entirely plausible, I guess.
What is the Big Bang?
The Big Bang, to be honest, I'm like I am actually not too educated on that topic myself. I don't want to say anything right now because obviously like I learned it the hard way. I don't want to say anything right now. But I guess at home I'm just going to do some research on that before I speak on this topic. But I do have a follow-up question, bro. Do you think that we're living in like a simulated universe? Like do you think like we're in a simulation?
I actually like that. I actually really like that question. I think, I mean, you could interpret this many different ways because it has to do with like, you know, the creators and stuff and how things are created. Let's say we don't have a creator. Let's say everything was like the Big Bang and everything's just playing out, right? And we were to live in a or not actually live in a simulation. We wouldn't live in a simulation if there's no creator. You know what I mean? If there is a creator, we would be living in a simulation or something like that. You know what I mean? So it kind of just depends on what you believe. I think we don't live in a simulation. We do not. Because the way that things are, I feel like if you're a man of science, right? As you say, you are the Big Bang and all that. If there's a Big Bang, there's no creator. That means there can't be a simulation. Everything that's happening right now, it's just the course of time. You know what I mean? It's the course of time. Everything just happens the way it is. Evolution, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
For me personally, I don't believe in the simulation as well. I don't believe that we're living in a simulation. But the thing is, like, it's kind of freaky, like, how it could be a possibility. Like, everything could be pre-planned. This podcast could have been pre-planned. Everything could be kind of just planned beforehand. And we're just kind of living through it. That's entirely plausible. I would say, like, some people say, like, religion and science don't go hand in hand. I'm not sure if they do. The thing is, I feel like it just gets, like, really complicated. It just becomes, like, a mess if we put, like, religion and science together. Exactly. I would say, like, I guess some situations where there's no evidence, you just have to, there are just certain things that you believe in. You just have to believe in certain things when there's no evidence. Because, like, we could be in a simulation, the Big Bang could be completely false. But since we have like no way of like even finding evidence or finding this is real, I guess we just have to go with our beliefs. Can just do the right thing. We just have to do what we believe in, honestly, even if there's no evidence.
I don't think religion is completely tied to like the creator at all. You know what I mean? I think there could be a creator, and there are religions, but religions are just like beliefs. Many different people believe in many different things. You know what I mean? You and I could start a religion. We could start a church that believes like, Joe Rogan made the world or something. You know what I mean? And if you get enough people to believe that, then, that'll be a religion. But it doesn't mean it's the truth, But I kind of do believe that there is like some kind of like creator, you know what I mean? I mean, Big Bang Theory, science, you know what I mean? But something had to have, you know what I mean? It's got to be something. And I think the course of time, no one can stop the course of time and how like things happen. But I think it's really good to have a faith system. I'm reading a book right now called The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. They're both very, very similar books, actually. Both very similar books. Just like knowing how to like, literally how to win friends and influence people. You know what I mean?
Okay, what do you think is like the biggest takeaway you've got from like how to influence people? What's the biggest takeaway from that book?
My biggest takeaway is I believe that there's a lot of chapters to it. There's a lot of things. I think my biggest takeaway is probably just like, I think it teaches you how to talk to people, you know what I mean? It teaches you how to listen and to like appreciate people. I think there was one quote, I forget it. He repeats it every single time in like every single chapter. It's like, be lavish in your praise and be something in your approbation or something like that. But lavish in your praise, man. You have to really appreciate people. Like for example, like if you were to talk about something that you're really enjoying, like something that like a passion of yours, even though I don't care about it, right? Like I'm not really like I'm not passionate about it, right? But I have to still like be interested in it, you know what I mean? And it's not like I have to. It's like I can like genuinely show interest in something that you're interested in, and I think that's actually really cool to me because I get to learn a lot about a lot of things that I'm not interested in, but I can be, you know what I mean?
Honestly, that's a great tip. I used to struggle with that because like every time they would start ranting about like their passions and shit, I would just fall asleep, honestly. But I'm getting a lot better. Honestly, right now, like in this podcast so far, I'm actually genuinely interested in like what we've been talking about so far. But to be honest, like most conversations that I've been having these days, it's super interesting, man. I mean, we've been talking a lot about physics, about black holes, about the simulations. It's just like honestly, it's just so fascinating that like I find it very interesting actually. Yeah.
What's your favorite black hole?
My favorite black hole, I guess my favorite one is probably the biggest one, the biggest black hole actually. Just
Keep going.
So what's the size of the biggest one?
that's what I'm asking. I think it's going to be massive. Maybe it's like there are probably other black holes out there that could like literally just suck the whole Milky Way galaxy. Like it's entirely plausible. Okay, let's just talk about I want to talk about like dinosaurs, right? Because I find them pretty fascinating. Do you believe in like okay, obviously you know how dinosaurs went extinct, right?
Yeah.
So an asteroid comes in, crashes, kind of destroys the whole Earth. So I want to know your thoughts on it. Like what are your thoughts on dinosaurs and how they went extinct?
How they went extinct? Well, they're not fully extinct. Mark Zuckerberg is still on the Earth. You know what I mean? No, but how did they go extinct? I think. Didn't a meteor kill them?
Yeah,
it was a meteor. Yeah, it was one of those things that killed them. I think. Yeah, it was that, and like there was a lot of things because the impact left a big smoke cloud, which put the entire Earth in an ice age. That killed off a lot of things, right? Yeah. No more exposure to the sun, so everything is cold now. So that killed off a lot of things. I think volcanoes were a part of it. Big impact pushed something in. Volcanoes started coming out. Yeah.
I think it's like it's more than the initial impact. I think it's also the aftermath because like a lot of things happened after. Like I think the shortage of food, the lack of resources, all of that kind of impacted into like the extinction. But like, what do you think like humans can do to kind of just prevent this? Because we could also end up like dinosaurs. If an asteroid is like coming to us right now, it could be coming to us right now actually. What do you think? Like, how do you think we can prevent this?
Okay, well, there's something that I actually learned. It's pretty fascinating, actually. A lot of deep sea creatures like sea turtles and sharks, they were around since the dinosaurs. They lived through the mass extinction. Yeah. Why? They're in the ocean, right? But they need to eat and stuff. And how were they not affected by the asteroids? You know what I mean?
That's very fascinating. Wow.
Exactly. And a lot of deep sea creatures survived the asteroid impact, the ice age and everything, and they ate and everything. I believe if humans were to survive an asteroid impact, it would be in the ocean.
Wow.
It would be in the ocean.
Interesting.
We would
The
have
thing
to
is,
do
like,
that. Yeah.
We don't have. Can't breathe.
Yeah, exactly. We can't. So that's the thing. I think
You know, you probably get frozen over.
you'd probably get frozen over. Yeah. Well,
I mean, first of all, can we even handle the pressure? I mean, obviously we need like suits and everything.
We already be hit a third of your.
I don't know, man. I think the most important thing is just not letting it hit in the first place. Just finding a way to like just bounce it off, or like I said, the dart project. I think that's gonna be important, bro. I feel like that's gonna be incredibly important for the future. I guess the future preservation of humanity.
I think also during the Cold War, right? A lot of nuclear type of like threats, right? So a lot of people had like bunkers, or bunkers were like a thing. You know what I mean? So people thought like going underground and all that would save themselves from nuclear destruction. And what do you think it would do like for the asteroid? I think it might actually. I don't know. You know what I mean?
I feel like that's a step in the right direction. I think it definitely has to be underground.
Yeah.
It definitely has to be underground. I'm not sure about like undersea. I'm not too sure about that, but I guess if that did happen, I think just going underground is like the first good step to take. But honestly, dude, I don't know, bro. Like I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm not sure how we can survive that.
Next question is, how would you survive underground?
The next question is like, how do you survive
underground?
I got the answer to that actually.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
I got the answer to that. Because humans are trying to go to the moon, trying to go to Mars. There's no oxygen up there. There's no plants up there either. But they're gonna make it happen anyways.
Oh,
They're gonna make it happen. You know what I mean? They're going to Mars. What if we actually did go to Mars? You know what I mean?
It's like artificial food.
By the time that asteroid came down, we're probably gonna be like, Mars. You know what I mean? Yeah. Other than going underground or in the ocean, it would be in the air. You know what I mean? But however, we're going to like create oxygen on Mars. Have you watched The Martian? That movie?
Oh, I've heard of it. I haven't watched it.
Dude, this guy created water out of freaking explosions or something. It was pretty interesting. But he grew potatoes on Mars, and I think that's actually theoretically possible to grow stuff on Mars and to have like oxygen and stuff on Mars. And I believe like if you can't do that on Mars, then you probably can't do it here. But if people are doing it on Mars, you could probably do it on the ocean. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's such a great point that you made about like just growing artificial food on Mars. I think if an asteroid did like actually hit Earth, I think that's the highest chance we have. We have to live underground, and we have to survive on artificial food.
But yeah, I mean it's depicted in many sci-fi movies. I think survival of like an apocalypse or something. You go to space, you go underground and stuff like that. I don't even know if it's like, I'm not even too sure if it's theoretically possible to really like grow stuff on Mars and like create oxygen on Mars. You know what I mean? Because you'd have to do the same thing in the ocean, right? So
The thing is, like, a lot of people talk about this, but Mars already has resources. Like Mars has a lot of carbon, a lot of methane. We can actually fuse those together to make oxygen. And I might be wrong, I might be mistaken, but I'm not sure. But I don't know, like carbon and like some other material actually makes oxygen. And yeah, don't cancel me just yet. I'm not too sure.
the entire world, we won't survive. You know what I mean? This is only for like probably rich elites or whatever.
That's true.
Yeah, most of the Earth's population are not going to survive anyways, even if we have bunkers or we have settlements on Mars, right? And the movie Interstellar, actually, they did bring up the idea of keeping like human embryos. You know what I mean? Like the eggs, they keep them, and then they're gonna grow them on like another planet or something like that.
That's so interesting.
So like ditch the human race here, but then keep those little eggs, and let them try to like survive. You know what I mean? That's the only way you could save.
Dude, honestly, I feel like that's so fascinating. I feel like genetic engineering. You've heard of that, right? Yeah. I think that is just so fascinating. I mean, have you heard about like cloning? Like cloning humans, growing artificial limbs, stuff like that. Just like you said, having embryos of humans. Dude, I feel like genetic engineering is like crazy. Also, have you heard of like I think it's called like cryo something? It's like where you cryostasis or something. It's like where you like kind of just freeze your body so that you can live for like, let's say another 200-300 years. You come back. What are your thoughts on that?
Wait, is that possible? Has it already been done? I heard like a conspiracy theory that Walt Disney's head is like that or some shit like that. I don't know. But yeah, if stuff like that is like genetic engineering and like cryostasis, like you said, if it is possible, then I mean it would definitely be done. Yeah, absolutely. Even not even to like save the human race, just like in general, you know what I mean? yeah, maybe our consciousness will be put into robots or something like that. You know what I mean?
That's so fascinating. I think. What are your thoughts on like cyborgs? Because I feel like like we're already implementing so much technology in our lives. A lot of AI. Eventually, I think it will get to a point where like a chip will be inserted into your brain, shit like that. I think it's gonna happen. I feel like it's just about to happen, and then eventually from the chips, we will kind of just be like these half human, half machines kind of thing. I think it's gonna happen. What are your thoughts on that?
If it is going to happen in the near future, which, you know, Neuralink, that's what it's called, right? Yeah, if that's already happening and someone's already doing that, let's say in the next like 10, 20, 50 years or something, that actually gets implemented, right? And humans, I don't know, are on the way to Cyberpunk 2077, you know what I mean? Like robot limbs and stuff like that. Then that might actually answer your question of how we're going to live through like an asteroid impact. You know what I mean? We would probably have the knowledge to turn ourselves into robots or something, I don't know, or create oxygen or make it so that we don't need oxygen, or in a way we would just evolve as humans so that we could survive something like an asteroid impact.
Yeah, we had a great conversation today. Thank you for joining the podcast. That was a great conversation, bro. In the future, obviously, we got to talk about like genetic engineering, cyborgs, asteroids. Yeah, it's so fascinating. Just so much to talk about, to be honest. But yeah, we're gonna wrap it up for today.